Ladies and gentlemen, g'day, it's Badger from Oz. And welcome back to Madden NFL 15. So if you can see by our title, unfortunately, we lost the Super Bowl. Yes, so yeah, congratulations to Kansas City Chiefs. For those that are wondering, I'm going to check to see how we did in the regular season first and see what fixtures we might be getting. If I'm going too fast, please pause the video if you're watching this on YouTube. This video has been recorded on the 16th of February 2026. I don't know, and I've actually thought about this as well. I've actually got my notepad next to me, and this is confirmation that there will be a Season 4 of the Detroit Lions season. Falcons, whoa, they suck. They were 0-16, only the second team ever to go on 0-16. So, twice in 9 years. Twice in a 9-year span. So, 8 years later, it happened again. The first team in 8 years to go 0-16. Let's advance season to the next season. Alright, so we've got our first season getting ready, but before we do, let's go check our schedule. See what happened in the preseason. Okay, so we end up losing a low-scoring game against Tampa Bay. We beat Washington. Whoa, we have 4 teams. Okay, so we lost the 2-2 for the usual. As per usual. Now let's take a look at the league schedule. For week 1, who will be our first opponents? And we've got the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, look at this one. You got a Monday night game. And you can catch this one, Monday Night Football, on ESPN. First Night Football on NFL Network and NBC will be the defending champions Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos in the rematch of the AFC Championship. I think they faced off in the AFC Championship. And Sunday Night Football on NBC, you've got Buffalo versus Houston. Monday Night Football, it's an ESPN Monday night doubleheader between Dallas and Washington. And you've got Arizona versus Detroit. Let's take a look at week 2. Thursday Night Football, it will be Cleveland versus New York Jets on NFL Network and NBC. And on Sunday afternoon game, Detroit are again on the road. They will be taking on Cincinnati, and you can catch that game on Fox. And then we've got the big one. You got Philadelphia versus Seattle. 2 heavyweight teams. Sunday Night Football on NBC. Our Monday Night Football, it's Baltimore versus Tennessee on ESPN. Week 3 will kick off with the New York Jets versus Miami on NFL Network and NBC. And Detroit get their first home game this season when they take on the Green Bay Packers. You can catch that game right here on Fox. Then, that won't be all. On Sunday Night Football, it will be Buffalo versus New Orleans on NBC. And Monday Night Football will bring you Minnesota versus Pittsburgh. Kick things off with week 4. It's Oakland versus San Diego. On Thursday Night Football on NFL Network and NBC. Then you've got Sunday afternoon football. Detroit are back on the road. Their first 4 games, 3 of them are on the road. And it will be Minnesota versus Detroit on Fox. Sunday Night Football, it will be Washington versus Arizona on NBC. And Monday Night Football, it will be the New York Jets taking on the New England Patriots on ESPN. Week 5, we're not going to have the bye, obviously. It will be New York Giants versus Dallas. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network and NBC. And to open your Sunday games, Detroit are once again on the road. Now we'll be going head-to-head with the Carolina Panthers. So it'll be Carolina versus Detroit. And you can catch that game on Fox. Wait, is the Minnesota one also on Fox? Let me go back on it for a bit. I'm assuming it's on Fox. Yes, it's on Fox. Season 2. Did we play the Panthers on Season 2? I can't remember if we played them on Season 2 or Season 1. I don't know. I'm not going to bother going back on it. Alright, Seattle versus Arizona Sunday Night Football on NBC. And then you got Monday Night Football. It's Tampa Bay versus Buffalo on ESPN. Thursday Night Football in Week 6 will bring you Denver versus the New York Jets on NFL Network and NBC. Sunday Football, Detroit have 3 games on the road. They've got 5 road games in the first 6 weeks. A very tough schedule. They'll be taking on the Green Bay Packers in the last Sunday afternoon game, or more like Sunday twilight game. And this one is going to be on Fox. So 5 road games in the first 6 weeks. Are you insane? Are you sure about this? Is this the right schedule? Oh, no, it is the right schedule apparently. But we do get a home game against the Falcons, at least. I was talking about, like, Falcons, how the Falcons suck in this season. Okay, what did I say week 16? Okay, so Sunday Night Football will bring you New Orleans versus Seattle on NBC, and Monday Night Football will bring you Indianapolis versus Houston on ESPN. Week 7 will kick off with the St. Louis Rams taking on Washington on NFL Network and NBC. For the Sunday games, you've got Detroit, the Super Bowl runners-up. They will be hosting Atlanta, the team that went 0-16 last season. And that game you will be catching on Fox. Later that day, it will be Sunday Night Football between Buffalo and Kansas City on NBC. And Monday Night Football, you've got Seattle vs San Francisco on ESPN. Just double checking. Week 8 is a bye. Which will be, for the second year in a row, it's going to be a Week 8 bye. So this is good. In Season 2, we got a Week 9 bye, which was normal. Alright, Thursday Night Football, it will be the New York Giants versus Philadelphia on NFL Network and NBC. Sunday Night Football will bring you Oakland versus Buffalo on NBC because the NFL rocks on NBC. And Monday Night Football will bring you Green Bay, Minnesota on ESPN. Detroit go back to it on the road again, but first, starting off with our Thursday Night Football game, it's the New York Jets versus Tennessee on NFL Network and NBC. Then we hit the Sunday games and Detroit hit the road straight away. And once again, yet again, Detroit will be taking on Tampa Bay. They cannot avoid Tampa Bay. And this time, you're going to be playing this game on Fox. I mean, it's usually on Fox anyway, so what do you know? It's always on Fox. Then you got Sunday Night Football. It's Philadelphia versus Washington on NBC. Then it's Monday Night Football. It's Baltimore versus New England. Week 10 kicks off with Chicago taking on the New York Giants on Thursday Night Football on NFL Network and NBC. Would you look at that? Detroit get a home game back. They take on Cleveland. And you can catch that game once again. Did we take on Cleveland before? I'm just looking at the schedule. Did we take on Cleveland last season? Can't remember if we did. Just looking through all this. Yes, I got the paper. No, we do not take on Cleveland, believe it or not. So we'll be taking on Cleveland, and this matchup will be on CBS. The first CBS game of the season. Now on Sunday Night Football, it is Seattle versus Washington. You catch that game on NBC. And last but not least, you got the Monday Night Football game between Houston and Tennessee on ESPN. Now, it was Week 11, the Thanksgiving game. No, it is not. Week 11 will kick off between St. Louis and the New York Giants. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network and NBC. Then the Lions hit the road yet again. Now, once again, be taking on the Baltimore Ravens. No, I don't think they even took on Baltimore yet in this game because Detroit are the road team. You'll catch that game right here on Fox. Now, Sunday Night Football, it is Denver versus Kansas City at it again. Primetime football, you love to see it. And it'll be Sunday Night Football on NBC because the NFL rocks on NBC. And last but not least, it's the Monday Night Football showdown between Dallas and Seattle on ESPN. Now, Week 12 will be Thanksgiving week, I'm pretty sure. But this time there's only 2 games. An afternoon game. It's going to be... Let's see. Did we take on the Bears before? Yes, we did. That was on Fox. This time, we are going to be taking on the Chicago Bears, and this time it's going to be a CBS game, even though Chicago are the road team. And then Thursday Night Football, it will be Kansas City versus San Diego on NBC. Sunday Night Football, you've got... Tennessee versus Jacksonville on NBC. And then Monday Night Football, you've got San Francisco versus St. Louis on ESPN. Right, 5 weeks to go. What have we got? Are we going to get any rematches? Any good games? Thursday Night Football will bring you Cincinnati versus Houston on NFL Network and NBC. Who are the Lions playing? And Detroit are at home for the second week in a row. This time they'll be taking on Minnesota. And you can catch that game right here on Fox. And Sunday Night Football will bring you Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay on NBC. And last but not least, it's Monday Night Football between Oakland and Denver. 4 weeks to go. Now, who we got? So, Thursday Night Football will begin with Chicago versus Minnesota on NFL Network and NBC. And then Sunday, you've got... You got Detroit versus Pittsburgh. And because Pittsburgh are the road team, we're going to have this one on CBS. The rest of the Sunday games, you got the Sunday night game between San Francisco and Seattle on NBC. And the Monday night game between New Orleans versus Tampa Bay on ESPN. 3 weeks to go. Okay, so let's see. Thursday Night Football will have the reigning champions Kansas City versus Baltimore on NFL Network and NBC. Sunday Night Football, now Detroit get a rare primetime game, their first game on NBC. And once again, luckily, they've got their 4th consecutive game at home. They're taking on New Orleans, and you can catch that game right here on NBC because the NFL rocks on NBC. And Monday Night Football, you've got Arizona versus Seattle on ESPN. In week 16, the last Thursday night game for the season will be Atlanta versus Tampa Bay. You can catch that game on NFL Network and NBC. I mean, Detroit didn't get many primetime games, even though they were in the Super Bowl, which is unfair. It's only our 2nd primetime game. One against New Orleans. Okay, Sunday afternoon football, we get our last it's hopefully our last road games of the season. And you can catch that game right here on Fox. Chicago versus Detroit. Then you got a Sunday night game between Houston and Denver on NBC. And last but not least, you got a Monday night game between Washington and Philadelphia. 1 week to go. What is going to be our final opponent? I'll be shocked if we don't play Seattle. Because we played Seattle multiple times. We've played Seattle like 4 times in 3 seasons, including 1 in the playoffs. Wait a second. Oh no, we didn't face Seattle in that playoffs in Season 3. Face them off in Season 1. Let's see. Week 17. Give me the money. Please give me the money. Let's see. Oh, okay. Plethora of games. Every single game is on a Sunday. To add more drama. Because normally, sometimes you get games during a weekday or weeknight. But no. So, Detroit will close out the season against Philadelphia. So, for the first time in a while, for the first time in 4 seasons, Detroit will not face off against Seattle. And they even get a primetime game to compensate for the lack of primetime action. So it'll be Detroit versus Philadelphia on NBC. I'm going to recap all the Week 17 games, however. So we've got Houston versus Indianapolis on CBS. You got Kansas City versus New England on CBS. You got New York Giants versus Arizona on Fox. You've got Tennessee versus St. Louis on Fox. You've got Chicago versus Baltimore on CBS. You've got Buffalo versus New York Jets on CBS. You've got Atlanta versus New Orleans on Fox. You've got Pittsburgh versus Jacksonville on CBS. You've got Seattle versus Green Bay on Fox. You've got Cincinnati versus Cleveland on CBS. You've got Carolina versus Minnesota on Fox. You've got Denver versus San Diego on CBS. You've got Miami versus Tampa Bay on Fox. Dallas versus Oakland on CBS. And Washington versus San Francisco on Fox, which means Detroit will get the NBC game. So just recapping their schedule. Detroit will begin their season on a Monday night on the road against Arizona. Then they travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals in less than a week. Then they get their first home game of the season, which will be against Green Bay, before 3 consecutive road trips from Minnesota, Carolina, and Green Bay, before heading back home to take on Atlanta. And then finally the bye week. And you got 9 weeks of football. They travel to take on Tampa Bay. Then they host Cleveland. They travel to Baltimore. They host Chicago in the annual Thanksgiving game. Then they remain home for a further 3 weeks against Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and New Orleans. Then they get their last road trip of the season against Chicago before heading back home to finish the season against Philadelphia. And that will do it for this video. I don't know when the season will eventuate, but it will be some time because I've got other games taking priority later during the year. So I don't know if you're going to be seeing a season 4 in 2026 or 2027. Depends on what I get through. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I will decide the uniforms off stream. And I hope you all have a great day. A safe trip home. Get home to your loved ones if you're out and about. And I will see you bright and early in this next video. Take care, everyone. Bye for now. And I hope you enjoyed today's video.